What is the real time?
7:40.
Although that is pretty close. Even the stop clock is right.
Well, I
twice a day,
have
right?
7:40.
Okay.
Yes, you're right, Stan. Clock's twice, alarm twice a day.
Righty. What are we doing here, Margaret?
You doing, you're gonna make recommendations
Yes, we
on,
are.
okay, you brought yours. I'm gonna give everybody you brought yours? Okay.
Oh, I
And
didn't get
there you
mine
go.
yet.
Some people didn't.
I don't have
We've
my
got a-
gas bill yet. Oh, my case.
Yep. How we doing?
We're doing okay.
Are we? Good.
Yeah, yeah. well,
How we
well,
doing
actually-
compared to last year?
Actually, I got we're up a bit.
Are we?
Yeah. I got the second tax bill. What is it, Diane? You really
Because
told
you've
me
been-
about the corner.
Because you've been so good. You-
'Cause I've been
they
so
gave-
good.
They gave you two.
And I just dropped off the abatement.
Did you get a second one? Oh, for the,
For the houses.
So these are the warrants. June is making copies of the motion sheets right now. But I
Yeah.
wanted you to have the warrants because this article summaries are underneath them.
I hadn't printed that out. Last time, Stan. Tax rates, $15. That sounds.
if you give me a trade for three, I probably would have picked that one.
Maybe at $15.19. It's there is a
15 something.
little up.
No Zoom printout, is that from the new software that they bought, that they're using?
It is,
Yeah,
yeah.
I assumed that was the case.
Mhm.
It's quite the change.
A little more tenure.
Yeah. Thanks, Julie. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Stan. Jumped right out of your hand. Hot off the press. I feel like I'm in school again.
You got your mimeograph? You got your mimeograph?
Thank you.
No, it's clearly not a mimeograph.
You missed mimeograph? No, I missed it. No. I used to love to volunteer to do mimeograph things, so I could have that smile.
Something we
Yeah.
can see
For the
if-
Yeah.
Thank you for these motions. I was very impressed.
Oh. Just easier following at the meeting.
So, and I'm sorry, for the minute, you
Can
just
I
need
steal one of
the
these?
motion.
Yeah, are you gonna need them all?
Well, I like to have two different colors, but
Well,
I have more than one.
I can use a pencil. What's this?
That's for the computer.
Oh, I guess I
You can take the black one.
You sure?
Yeah, so I have a,
Okay.
Terrible.
no, it's
I'll share with you, Stan, if you need it.
I got it.
Oh.
so your recommendations will be put on the motion sheet because we couldn't get them on the warrant in time. So your recommendations will be on under each of the articles.
I understand what you also need the minutes done tonight. So I need to put this in the minutes, or you're gonna do this directly on the sheet?
I'm gonna write them directly on the sheet because I have to have these recorded on here.
So I don't need to write it in the minutes?
Well, Eloise asked for it to be in the minutes, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you need to make sure you write it up in the minutes. they approve it.
Yeah, and you know what,
Okay.
Julie, after you vote your recommendations, I can send you a copy of this and you could attach it to your minutes too.
Oh, okay, let's do it that way, and that way we know we've got. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, Elodie said that we're trying to be in compliance with the Attorney General, so it's really just.
Yeah.
asking us to be very particular about, yeah, having the minutes ready ahead of.
Tell me again.
Yeah.
And I won't be able to make the town meeting, so that's why I want to make sure. I'm here tonight.
I will miss you.
I won't miss.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I said that out loud.
It's around us, Dick.
Honesty is the best
Clearly.
policy. So we have old minutes.
We do.
Want to do that first?
I had my laptop already provisioned. It's sitting on my kitchen table.
Right, that's the last meeting we got together was October 6th meeting. I didn't have any changes. That's when we elected.
So you say these are the minutes.
Yeah, this is what. We
Feel
went to
it
send these out,
separate.
send out yesterday.
Yeah, late last night, so.
So, yeah, so I did print it.
Are they?
Um,
the elected officers?
I was confused too. Janet, did you end up being vice chair or was Scott vice chair? I thought, I remember there was discussion.
I thought Scott was,
Yeah.
but
Did I get it backwards?
I think I made the
think
motion
Janet made the motion.
for Scott to be in, and then Stan, somebody seconded it, and I said, good. I think that was the only thing.
So the correction is,
Scott is nominated as vice chair. I think
I
Janet made
think
the
I
motion.
nominated him
Yes,
and
Mary seconded.
Mary seconded it.
Oh, I see what I did. I left the names out.
you left the,
Yeah.
yeah. Except you got it for Stan, but
Right,
everybody
because
else,
the important,
the important one.
Right.
Yeah.
clearly.
So I'm changing this the way I did the first line. So nominate Scott. Okay, so that was all it needed to change. Nominate Stan.
Mary.
Julie nominated Stan, Mary seconded, I nominated Scott, Mary seconded, and nominated. What's the, you as clerk? You just left the names out.
I left the names out, yeah.
That's okay.
You knew this.
Did I second my left?
You didn't second, you seconded Julie.
I did.
Yeah.
I just said-
Julie nominated you, Mary seconded, I nominated Scott, Mary seconded, I nominated Julie, you seconded. I think that's how I remember it. Is that how you remember it?
I can't remember who was doing the nominating. I did not take those notes.
I took the notes, but I was a little
Does
too
it actually
clever
matter?
for.
That doesn't, well, it doesn't really
Doesn't
matter,
matter,
we all
just
agree,
who
right?
was the admin.
So should we just make a motion to accept the minutes as corrected? All right, I make a motion that we accept the minutes as corrected.
Further discussion on the minutes? None, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Everyone's okay with their choice of officer. A slate of officers. Alrighty. Okay, so we're done here. Excellent.
Yeah, she's not listening to us. She's totally not listening.
This part.
Okay, we said we're done, so I guess I'll make a motion to close.
Oh,
She still
yeah,
isn't
that's
listening.
not.
Oh, are you,
You're
oh,
right.
sorry. I
Exactly.
thought,
That was quick.
Yeah.
All right, done.
well, thank you all for coming out
Yeah.
tonight.
It's really, we couldn't do any less. It really was the least.
Okay, working through the articles now then, right? All righty, Article 1, Article 1.
Do we need to recommend something then? I was reading.
Well, the reason that I plugged it in and it doesn't have to stay there is because there would be a cost savings due to this change, because the town would no longer be sending the entire annual town report. It would only be sending the warrant, the finance committee's report, and finance committee's recommended budget. So the annual town reports, the books themselves would be made available throughout town and online. So,
I got that. I knew why you had it in.
yeah,
Because it is a cost savings.
yeah. And
So
so,
what do we normally?
Oh, so I see what this is. This is the reason, no, I just didn't realize, I didn't quite really read the whole section. It's, they're not gonna print like however many households.
right,
Yeah,
right.
I'm all for
And
that.
I'm assuming the town report will no longer have the warrant and the budget and stuff like that.
That's correct. Yes,
So that
because
part is separated out.
exactly. It would have the finance committee's report for the prior fiscal year, so it would have all the standard
Yeah,
stuff.
the old stuff.
Yeah,
But you're still gonna print it. The town
still gonna
reports.
print the town report and have it made available just without mailing.
If there are a number of people.
So do you have an idea of how many you would print versus what used to be printed?
Oh, it's ever increasing. What did we print this time? 1,600? I want to say 1,600 to each of the voting households. So we would probably be printing half that. That's my guess. Yeah, because we'd be making it available online too.
There'll be those old Berlin townies
Yeah.
that probably have one from 1900 and everyone since that will still want their copy.
Yeah, and they'll
Usually
still,
They give it half, I would think quarter.
yeah, maybe we could cut it down even more than that. Yeah, yeah.
At least the first year. get too many, figure it out.
Right,
So
exactly. Mhm.
We recommend,
Oh, so
Article
next
one
time,
for
makes
the-
sense to do that. Okay,
sorry, I didn't wait.
that's fine. Please.
No second.
All right, any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Two.
Article 2 is recognition of the new federal holiday, Juneteenth. It's also a state recognized legal holiday, and it's adding Juneteenth to the list of recognized holidays in the personnel bylaw. It's also adding the suffix junior to Martin Luther King Jr. Day. While we don't have an option with regard to observing this, it is a subject of bargaining. So for our collective bargaining units, we would be negotiating this,
So again, money cost or saved
depending on whether it's negotiated in the contracts.
Make a motion that we accept Article 2.
A second.
Any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously.
Next one I'll try to explain succinctly. The next article, even though it's very wordy in the warrant, only extends timelines for obligations to be met in the River Bridge Development Agreement and prior modifications. There's no way some of the construction obligations would be able to be completed by December 11th, 2021. And the town is not in a position to exercise its option to purchase the River Run parcel by December 11th, 2021. So in the summary below the article in the warrant, it explains what the extensions will be without waiving any obligations of the River Bridge principles.
I've been tracking this contract, so it all made sense to me from my participation. I don't think there's been a meeting this yet. But
We had a phone meeting a while back.
Mhm.
we're
You've been-
still, the town isn't ready to pay the dollar and take the rights on that.
No, because there could be options with regard to how the parcel is subdivided. So as part of, our discussions, we've talked about whether the town could actually obtain an additional parcel, and whether that could be made available for commercial use, whether the town, if it did exercise its option to purchase, could be free to use it for more, for more uses than what's allowed currently in the River Run agreement itself. So right now, if the town exercises an option to purchase that property, we're restricted in what could be put there.
Thank you. Yeah, I was looking for the upside to the
Yeah,
town. For the
Yeah,
town, I'd like
we're
to
restricted in what we could put there.
Yeah.
If they were to loosen some of those restrictions, I'm just gonna say, as an example, that particular parcel is zoned for, it's limited business.
Yeah.
And you could put, recreational marijuana there or any other kind of, facility that would qualify under limited business. But in order to leave those options open, we're not gonna be able to do anything by December 11th of this year.
Got it.
So.
I have a question. Regarding the page 6, and the more talking about phase 1, there's still the ongoing possible negotiation between compensation and still the done actually doing the completion of the project. Is this in any way, is that just an acknowledgement that that's going on? And if that was done, that would still require town approval also
So.
for such a modification?
Yep, so this doesn't require any other approval. All this does is memorialize what's already in the development agreement. So the development agreement actually says that equitable compensation that's agreeable to the town and River Bridge could be paid to the town in lieu of constructing the projects. And so the town views this equitable compensation as the amount equivalent to the cost of engineering design, the amount equivalent to the cost of actual construction of these projects. So that's something that we have not settled on, but this only memorializes what's already in the development agreement.
Yeah, my view it is okay. The only question I had was on the town options. So the
Yeah.
rest of it's consistent with
Yeah.
what I know.
We just, it's gonna be a continual push, but this only extends the deadlines.
They would like to get out of, they would prefer to not have to do some of these things.
They would. And if that's the case, they'll be paying equitable payments to the town.
They just don't feel like they're the ones to, it's just not in their wheelhouse. It's not in there. For them to do it, they would just assume,
Mhm,
give up an interest in something and have somebody else do it.
mhm.
A bit of an aside, I don't want to detour too much, but have we gotten another payment from them, June?
No,
Okay, then.
not since 33.
Hold the line, Stan, hold the line.
Yeah, they've just missed their second year deadline.
Yeah, because they got a payment due in.
November
weeks.
1st.
Oh, November 1. I
Yeah,
thought it was December 1.
November 1.
We are in the town of Berlin looking after the nickels and dimes here.
Mhm.
Try it anyway.
Well, if it's in the best interest of the town, I make a motion that we accept. Article 3, sorry, I had to go back and see which one it was.
I'll second that, Jim.
Further concerns or comments or questions? None, for a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Heard all ayes, so Do I still have to ask for opposed? So any opposed? Motion carries.
So the town, Article 4 is, it seeks to authorize the select board to petition the legislature for 2 additional off-premise all alcohol licenses, 2 retail licenses. The question's probably gonna come up at town meeting, and I know we're at an open meeting, is this for Riverbridge? Well, the board explicitly discussed this. They have left the option open to any qualified applicant here. This is not for Riverbridge. This is for any qualified applicant who meets the requirements of the ABCC's and the local licensing authority's hearing process. So we don't have any available licenses at this point. This would just lift our quota by 2.
This is for serving, correct?
No, this is for
For
sales.
selling.
Yeah.
Okay.
We presently have 1 license in town for sale? Or selling, or
We
is
have
there-
quite a
or is
few.
there-
We have 2.
Sale.
We have 2 retail. This will add 2 retail.
So Highland Commons is one, that's right. because
Yeah,
they sold
and
the
Dane-
Highland Commons.
And
Dagno's.
Dagno's is the other.
So
yeah.
this could add 1
2.
or 2 more.
2 more.
2 more.
Yep.
So we're gonna ask the general court for up to 2.
That's right. We're going to ask them for 2 additional. And I forgot to list your recommendation under this
I
article.
know,
but
that's why I didn't think. we had to do
Sorry,
this.
no, you should do this one.
Yeah, but I would say this as financial impact.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So we have 2 now, this will be 4, and we
That's
have
it.
1 beer and wine, or do you need one?
Oh, no, we have several beer and wine
Several beer.
available. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be picking up more nip bottles, right?
Yeah, well,
So we got-
I gotta say, I haven't seen any fireballs on Derby Road in the last couple months. So I don't know if the message got out or what, but.
Oh, what the heck was it that I was picking up out there the last Earth Day?
Different road?
Oh, I don't know. It was a toss up. There were Smirnoff, there was some Fireball, there was, Captain Morgan. That was another little one. Anyway.
Maybe somebody moved.
Yeah, maybe somebody
Yeah.
moved.
That could be.
Maybe somebody switched it up a little.
Somebody aged out, so
Yeah.
now they're actually,
They're like, oh, no, they're catching on.
well, now they're legal, now they don't have to check them out the window.
Oh, maybe.
But it, yeah, and I'm a little more serious now.
We should put deposits on nip bottles.
So we view this as potentially substantial revenue. One, we already have a couple of outlets.
I can tell you that the wine cellar at BJ's actually came in right after we drafted the warrant and asked whether we had any available licenses. So there's interest out there. And they're finding it difficult to compete with Highland Liquors.
Absolutely. I'm sure
Yeah.
they've lost- I'm sure they've
Yeah,
lost business
so-
because-
Yeah, so the manager came in.
Highland
and
Liquors
asked-
is doing a terrific
Yeah.
job with what they've got.
Yeah, so. No,
And, I'm sorry, it was BJ's Wine Cellar?
it was BJ, the wine cellar at BJ's. Mhm. The manager came in and asked if there was a license available, and we said, well, it's not right now, but we're gonna be going to town meeting with an article. So they might be an applicant for all I know.
So,
Well, they were an applicant, were they not?
They
So
competed
they
with
wanted
Highland
to-
Liquors.
And we gave it to Highland, or
Mhm.
we didn't, but the select board
Mhm,
gave it to Highland Commons.
mhm.
And it was, I understood their rationale. It was a bigger floor print and hoping to get more job availabilities and whatnot. And then it ended up being downsized from what they originally had wanted.
Mhm.
So, okay.
When the town gives these out, do we just grant them or do we actually require compensation?
Oh, we require compensation. ABCC requires compensation. There's a lot of money that's required for these licenses. Mhm.
Do we know if that's all of the application?
Oh, what is the application fee? I don't have it readily available, our application fee, I want to say, oh gosh, I don't want to guess. I don't want to get 500, 1,000.
I was thinking 450, but
Okay,
I don't know that. for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I can't remember.
It's on her website, but I could go on it later. and find
It's
it.
actually extendable. We get it.
Every year, it's renewed every year, so we'll get it every year. Mhm.
Oh, I could- So is it in my town?
It would it'd be under select board.
Okay.
Good luck.
Oh, no, I've gotten pretty darn good. at
No,
it.
I'm sure you have. It's just a long list.
Yeah.
I could
Can we
actually look it
move
up
on to
too.
The next one while Mary's looking for that?
Well, actually, I have a,
No, I know, but can
I
we
have
just,
I have a question.
oh, sorry.
You know, kind of for June, do we have a sense of like Dagno liquor, so what's our revenue? Do we have a sales tax based revenue out of these
Hey.
stores?
Yeah, I don't have anything to do with that end of it, so I don't even
Okay.
know what would that be a personal property? bill?
There would probably be personal
Yeah,
property
so
income from
okay.
that as well, yeah.
I'm just curious if that question comes up at town meeting, what's this gonna mean in terms of
Yeah,
revenue?
Mhm.
that's-
I think
would
that's
say
a great
that's
question,
a
Mary.
Dennis
Well, I'd like to be
question.
prepared to answer it because there's some, you know.
Yeah, we
there's
can
a bunch of
gather
breweries
that.
around town.
Yeah, it would be a
No,
separate-
totally.
Yeah.
And just for my own benefit, I'd like to know.
Well, that's kind of like a question about, what's the property assessed at on South Street? That's what first came to my mind. You asked,
The property says that.
well, on South Street, the big property that, we didn't know what the assessed value was of the property we were purchasing, This is kind of similar to that.
Yeah,
We're gonna
yeah.
vote on this, but we don't really know what's the pros and cons of the fees. and
Restaurant, all
the
alcohol,
income.
general on premise.
I totally
restaurant,
agree
wine
with
and
you.
malt, club.
um,
Package store, there it is. $1,500 package store.
$1,500. That's just our initial fee, or is that?
That's annual.
Times two.
Mhm. Plus any personal property and real estate taxes that would be derived from that. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I think we might wanna hold this vote until we get something from Molly, just to understand what that figure looks like. And of course, and is Highland Spirits also in Berlin, or is it in?
It is. Mhm.
So we have Highland Spirits and we have Dagno. So we have two.
We have two. Mhm.
two tax revenue views on property.
We do.
What did you say, personal property?
would
What
be.
was the other one? I missed the other.
Real estate. I don't know if there would be any impact to real estate taxes. Personal property, I think, would be the bigger one.
I guess
Open
if
the
it-
store, it would be that.
Yeah.
And that's the sales tax, really, right? Based driven by the sales.
The personal property? No, it's
Mm,
the stock, it's the shelves,
do we get
it's.
extra sales tax on it? I don't know.
I
Is
don't
there
know.
sales tax on liquor?
Well, there is sales tax on liquor. Yes,
So
there is.
Is it like?
Do
does
we
it come
get-
back to us?
I don't.
That's a
yeah,
Dennis question.
Maybe
We'll
it
ask
just goes
Dennis.
to the state, maybe the town doesn't
Yeah.
participate in that.
We'll ask Dennis. And Molly, those questions.
So do we want to withhold our vote on this until we get more information?
I'd like to wait and see if June gets a response.
We'll have to do it we'll have to do it like via email or something, because we have to have it by Monday night.
Yeah, we might get it, we might get it.
Oh, you're thinking we're getting, so we,
Well,
okay,
she's-
gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think she's
You're
asking.
all right, so we'll move on.
Maybe come back to these.
Yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if she knows it.
we can email you tomorrow.
She wants to have it printed. we can.
How else can we vote? Can you vote by email?
Nope.
You have to have a
But
meeting.
We
didn't
could-
we had like a quick meeting
Yeah.
before the regular meeting.
Why
It
don't,
just wouldn't be printed.
It just wouldn't be printed.
why don't I post you for like 6:45 on Monday night? That way you can at least talk before the meeting.
Yeah, if we don't get an answer tonight, I think we would really want those numbers tracked down and understand what our recommendation is.
Okay, moving along, move on to 5.
All right, what else? Oh, the next one, I don't have a recommendation for you on, I haven't plugged anything in because that's, the law requires that cemetery commission regulations be approved by the town, and I don't see any cost impact on that.
No, I don't think there's a financial impact.
Unless they're charging fees or anything.
Not in the regulations, no. Next one. Next one. Oh, just special article closeouts. Back to the general fund.
I'll make the motion that we accept the special article closeout, Article 6.
We need to do that. This is financial impact.
So why is there still 25,000 left for the library as well?
They never did it
didn't
because
have
they
to do
found
it.
out they didn't have to.
I think that A and C are both what the original number was put in.
Was the original,
Yeah.
On this one, was that the original one?
Was,
Oh,
but
it
nothing
is.
was ever expended from either one.
I don't know the answer to that.
It would make sense in its
On
round
the
numbers.
the well work, there wasn't anything done, but. For some reason, I'm thinking bylaws are usually 5,000, not 2, so off the top of my head, I don't know if that was the original one.
quite a while ago.
My brain isn't working like this at all. you know.
Oh, yeah, this was from 10 years ago. So, okay, any further discussion on this? Hearing none, take a vote. All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? None, like, unanimously.
Janet, do you want to do the capital?
I was just thinking. So this the capital planning committee is very thoughtful about what they do and what they don't do. And they had some really hard decisions here moving forward. And that said, the first one is the roof at this town building, which has been under discussion for some time, but we had to wait for certain things, and so that's the first one. And I believe that was a unanimous vote, was it not? I don't remember. But the second one is the old fire station, which is another rubber, what is it called, Margaret?
Oh, EPDM, rubber membrane roof.
Rubber membrane roof. And again, we're putting money into a building, which I had commented on in an email. I'm having a hard time swallowing that one, but because we don't know what the purpose of some of these buildings, and Margaret has putting a grant, correct me if I'm misstating this, a grant to try to get somebody in to look at all of our buildings and assess their value and their usefulness and their necessity of, and have I hit on all the high points?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So that's another issue with the roof on the fire, old fire station. Are we putting good money towards a building that really isn't worth repairing? The ambulance is just replacing, and that's on the, they have a rotating where, you know, one is replaced this year and then X amount of years the other one. So that's just replacing that one. And that's actually being paid for by receipt. So that was kind of nice. And so there's that. And then the highway is typical. That's our hot talk, which we do every year with Chapter 90 funds. And
Did we skip that in the spring then?
I don't think so.
That was actually, this one was actually voted in the spring of 2019.
Right.
And it came, and it had a sunset clause attached. The sunset clause,
Prior,
sunset,
so the money
yeah.
wasn't spent, right?
that's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
so
I
this-
didn't catch it to put it at
Yeah.
town meeting.
So this money is
yeah.
still sitting out there, so we have to like kind of reapprove it. Is that the better way of putting that?
Yeah.
And then the last one is, recreation, wants to, upgrade the tennis courts, which I think is fabulous. They are, we didn't put the year that they were done, but it was a long time ago. And, some of it's coming from mitigation, and then 20,000 is coming from free cash. I know they approved that one. They approved unanimously 5, 4, 3. I can't remember about 2,
Mhm.
and 1 they approved. And I'm sorry, I just don't remember.
And the 30,000 was because they didn't do another recreation project?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
So
it
they're
was, the-
transferring from.
Yeah,
one
they're
fund.
just transferring, yeah. That was money left from the
Yes.
the trail, the rail, not the rail, the safety, the wellness trail. Thank you. Wellness trail. Have I got that all right?
yes.
Okay. So. I'm still not 100% convinced on number 2. And I'd love to have had those assessments done before, but it's not gonna happen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's very, very poor condition. There are some full buckets, a full
Yeah, oh, it looks
cooler.
like- it's Pictures, it looks horrible.
It is hard.
I just have a hard time putting money into a building that we
But
don't
the
even know.
building's still in use, right?
It's,
The building is still in use and it's structurally sound.
Yeah.
But it's got a hole, it's got a hole in the
Except for the
roof.
whole.
Yeah. a hole in the roof.
So I have the philosophy, Janet, if the town owns a building.
oh, no, no,
Because
Ye-
it's just maintain.
no,
it,
no, no,
28,000
yeah,
is-
yes, but there was a lot of discussion on how to maintain it. There was some discussion, I didn't include that. Would it make more sense to look at how what type of roof would be better, because these rubber membrane roofs are really not practical in New England, where we have the snow and the ice, and there was some discussion on looking into putting a pitched roof onto the building and rather than the rubber membrane. So there was a lot of thought done in capital planning. And to say that we couldn't change the verbiage in the actual article because it was already printed, so, there was other discussion. They all feel like you, that we should repair buildings because we own them. That wasn't it, but what type of repair and type of roof could we change it and do something different than these rubber membranes? That was also brought up.
Yeah, well, I get that, because the walk around sort of common sense thing is the flat roofs always move.
Right,
So, and they are these, EP, is it EP
Yeah.
or EM?
whatever they're called.
EPDM.
Polymer.
Yeah.
EPM,
EPDM.
Yeah.
EPDM, ethylene propylene diethylene.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
So-
can read it.
Would you like me to see it?
I would, yeah, spell it.
Actually, I can spell it. I wasted my youth learning these things.
so you see, we did add roof repair or replacement as needed, and we kind of left that open. to
Yes, you
see
did.
If we could
Yep.
somehow get somebody else to look at the roof repair, so it's not necessarily replacing the rubber membrane, but the money would go towards doing something to fix the building. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, it does make sense.
Okay.
If you put a little superstructure on it that was a peaked roof, you'd be in better shape, but I don't know, I have no idea what that.
Well, we
costs.
didn't know either. That was one of the things we were gonna see if maybe our Margaret's building person, because they're certainly not gonna be replacing it
Yeah.
immediately, because we're gonna have to get,
I've actually submitted an FY23 capital request for that facilities assessment, so it's not gonna happen imminently, but I put in a request for it.
So, it's a legitimate question.
oh,
but I-
absolutely.
But I think my view overriding again is you have these properties to maintain. And the sooner you do the maintenance, ultimately less it's gonna cost.
And we may have an answer to what type of roof before we get to, because I mean, it has to be bid and all of this nonsense, so.
Yeah.
So the money would be there for roof repair. I guess that's the bottom line.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to let you know that they were very thoughtful in how they were spending our money, and it may be better off looking at a different roof option if that is an option. Any other questions?
Just on that 30,000 that was originally the walking path and is now heading towards the tennis court. So what's any idea what the financial mechanism is? Was that sunset money?
The 30,000,
Yeah.
It was
They had-
Article 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry, I forgot.
and it went back into the original funding source.
Okay.
Yep, it went back to Highland Common Mitigation Funds, and now we're
I see.
pulling it back
Pulling it
out.
back out.
And I think they
Okay.
gave back, so, I think the same amount, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the free
it was-
cash, too.
Yes.
It was the same amount,
Was
yep.
30,000.
So it's kind of a wash for recreation. They've just come up with a different use for the money they had originally requested.
Well, I brought it up at the coffee talk on Thursday, which makes this much more complicated, my description here, but it also might be something we have to reevaluate. I think last time in town meeting in May was the first time we did the whole capital plan as one article.
Mhm.
I think all previous times in individual.
Mhm.
And now, and I think this is gonna highlight it. I am against one particular item on here. I'm not gonna vote for it, but it looks like I'm going to vote against the entire article. And that is, just to clarify here, it comes down to the tennis and basketball courts. I'm not against the repairs and upgrades of them. The total cost of that is $150,000. You'll find Article 12 is the CPA money now put in $100,000. And then the other 50,000 is coming from this article for item 5, where 30,000 is where was the Highland Commons Cultural Mitigation Fund, which makes sense to me coming into this. But then the other $20,000 coming from free cash, when we have all the CPA money now. I know originally, if you go back to the Wellness Trail, when this was approved, I forget what your town meeting is like, I think 2019, is there was 50,000 too. It was 30,000 being the Highland Commons Cultural Mitigation Fund plus 20,000 for free cash. So I'm sure they're looking back and saying, well, there was 50,000 total for this Wellness Trail, but we didn't have the CPA funds now. I mean, we're doing the extra 3% tax on all of this stuff. First time we're expending the CPA funds. And I think these type of things should be kept within the CPA budget, especially since this is only the first time we're doing it. Actually, it's a special town meeting. They'll have another only 6 months. They can deal with extra money from the regular town meeting. But to me, they've gone over budget by $20,000. And perfect example of that is Article, actually it's Article 11 that's for the actual basketball courts and tennis courts. It's Article 12 that's asking for another, that's taking 20,000 from the CPA funds. This is for the baseball scoreboard and the announcers booth. So in my opinion, this article should be just left till when they have CPA funds available, that those 20,000 CPA funds should be used in Article 11, bringing it to 120,000. And no free cash needs to come out in item 5 in Article 7. So that, because we now have all these CPA funds, why are we still dipping into the free cash? I know there is a history with it, how it was originally for the Wellness Trail, but this is the first time we're using those CPA funds, and I think we can't use them for other things. So we start dipping into free cash for this type of stuff. We can't go back the other way and take CPA funds back to free cash.
Yeah, your point
Right.
is good, Scott, because the CPAs do that for 3 purposes. And if you keep those functions in town in those purpose areas, that seems to be the way it's designed and intended. But, I appreciate very much your issue when you have a funded capital budget. But that's problematic, and I don't know if this can.
Well, there is a mechanism that you'll be able to, Barry would be able to split the warrant up. I mean, split the motion up. So this is why they're lettered or numbered, each of the items. So you'd be able to pull one out or more.
I don't know if you have to make a motion to take them individually or however, but there is a way.
There is a way to do it.
Because that was one of my major concerns too, when we first started to do this, but there is a way.
Yep.
That it can be voted on separately if townspeople so choose.
So, I mean, that's where I stand is basically this, it's just under 20,000 from free cash. in item 5 for Article 7, I will not give approval.
Vote on this and your vote will be noted, and then if you want to address it at the town meeting, we can split it out.
Yeah, and you know what, I hear where Scott's coming, and it also got brought up because there's also the money that is coming from Berlin Conservation Commission, and we did ask Julie about this at the meeting. Because why didn't they just take 20,000 from the 490 and only give 470 to conservation and the rest of it? And there was some reason, and I don't remember why, but there was a reason. So maybe you can get that answer. I don't recall it, but there was a reason for it.
Yeah, it's embedded in the CPA.
Yeah.
No,
They
no,
have to-
I'm saying,
They have to fund, which is why Scott's point is such a.
no, no, what I'm saying is, I asked the same question Scott asked at capital planning. Why couldn't this 20 be come out of capital planning and take minus 20 from conservation? So instead of giving 490 to conservation, do 470 to conservation, and then it would all come out of capital planning. But there was a reason why they gave the 490 to conservation, and I don't recall what that was, and I'm not even sure it was explained at capital planning. I think it was simply said, this is what CPA decided to do, and that's how we're going to leave it.
So I answered your question, I'm gonna answer it again, there's a relative amount that goes into those 3 areas that the CPA authorizes us to spend in. And so that's the answer to your question, the open space is a bigger amount.
But there's an unrestricted pot
There's an
of
unrestricted
money
pot of
there
money,
that
exactly.
was also put into that
Yep.
conservation
Yep.
article. So my recommendation, if you're prepared to give recommendations tonight, you could do recommendations on each of the numbered items under this article if you'd like. So, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5.
So, and let me just understand something too, Janet, when we look at the recreation point under the capital planning, then we look at Article 12, which is CPA funding, and Article 12 goes to the baseball.
Yeah,
field.
Article 12 is
So-
not part of number 5.
I get it.
Yep.
I get it, but to kind of Scott's point, looking at what's the total spend over, and then secondly, look at the source. So Article 12, CPA, so and it's 20,000, Scott, so the 20,000 is borrowed from you, right?
I think Scott discussed that at the coffee
There's
talk.
two,
Yeah.
2 other pieces too. I mean, one is the 20,000, it just happens to match, right?
It just happens to match.
Right, but that's the other one that I also looked at this one was, I mean, you look at the other type of things, and this is, it will be a complicated thing with these CPA funds. But this particular one seems to be, at least from general population usage, this is not there. I mean, this is going to be very restricted for baseball. Well, if you take in any of the other types of stuff, the open space, anybody can go and use that land. Anybody can know when they go and, whether they're videoing or taking pictures of different things, art, the history of the town. Anybody can do that and have access to that, just like the basketball and tennis courts. Well, a booth, is this something, and I'm sure the answer is no. This is something that not any general person in the public is going to have access to going. I want to put a baseball game together on during the middle of summer, and can I go down and wherever this is and get the access to run the scoreboard? That's the type of stuff that I see it's a very narrow actual use for being able to see if people get used to it. And considering this is the first year we're using CPA funds, I just have a hard time that we're going to such a very narrow usage already in the very first time.
but I guess I'm not making myself clear. What I was trying to get across was the 20,000 free cash should have gone to Article 12, and the CPA money should have stayed in number 5. Does that make sense? That's what I,
Well, my thing would be saying that Article 12 should be something that would be considered in future CPA funds. I think it's definitely in that, the cultural, or the Community Preservation Act, what it's like targeted for.
Yeah.
But if
And that we
this
should be
was all
living-
funded from CPA money, if the recreation committee, if the recreation court upgrades was all paid for between Highland Common Cultural Mitigation Fund and CPA funds, you would feel better about that than having it coming from with free cash.
Sure.
and then the free cash could go to the recreation,
And it can stand on
I would say the free
stand on its
cash
own.
would stay out of that particular thing. If they don't do that now, they just do it when they have sufficient CPA funds in May. That regular, it's only 6 months.
But it's just,
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
I'm not against them ever doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying right now, unless they happen to have the full funding for this, in CPA funds, if they do have the 20,000, then just put the 20,000 more in CPA funds to the Article 11 and drop the free cash. I mean, I don't care how they do it. I mean, it's recommendations of how to get around.
I think part of the reason why they wanted to do this now was because I think they were hoping to maybe have everything up and running for spring.
Right.
Because baseball would start after April vacation, and we certainly wouldn't have our town meeting before that. That's why, I mean, it's a wash either way, whether
it's
it comes.
still spending free cash.
Right,
Scott's
but-
point is
but
to not spend
Could
free
we,
cash.
I know, I get that, and I'm agreeing with that, but could they put it back into free cash in the spring? CPA money?
No.
Can we do that?
No.
Just asking.
Anything
No,
that's spent out of
it's-
CPA funds, if it's not used, it goes back into CPA funds. That's an automatic.
No, I meant the free cash.
Free cash.
You
Alright.
can't spend. You mean, can free cash go into CPA
CPA?
or vice versa?
Well,
I'm
free
just-
cash could be used on things that, not to CPA, I don't know if we go to CPA. but
And there
they
are-
go to
and there-
things that CPA would want to spend on,
Yeah.
but, or things that would
We
fall
can
in that
use, we
category.
can put
But
something.
you can't take CPA funds back to
Yeah,
free
so,
cash.
so Janet, there's a sunset on that item 5 in Article 7, there's a sunset on it. So if we voted to do Article 9, that CPA.
Article 7?
Or item 5, Article 7.
The capital.
Oh,
projects.
Article 7, item 5, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. That money could be, if it was unspent, it could go back. Right, and I'm looking to see, the other recreation. Yeah, the other recreation is Article 11.
I can appreciate what you're saying. I totally appreciate, but I think part of it was timing and trying to get things up and running for this spring.
They're also not a very thorough number to do that. So, yeah, so I thought that's something.
Well, you could take care of the supply chain part of everything.
Yeah.
China.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
That's why it would be useful here, yeah. And Janet made the point last time we talked about this, that kids can't have home games.
No, we can never have a home game.
Well, I think they broke it down to saying that they didn't really actually talk about the playoff piece of it, just saying that they don't get enough home games. Saying because they don't, I mean, it was a general.
We can't have any playoff games here because we
Right.
don't have an official scoreboard.
Right.
That's like just part of the league thing.
Right, at the Thursday talk, they never brought up the playoff thing. They just said, they just discussed the regular season home games.
Right.
That they get less home games because of saying that other town, I mean, I felt like you were listening to a Major League Baseball stadium. for this thing going, and so, well, somebody else has something a lot nicer, so they have all their things there. What was a little, what it lacking in the description was, is this just a, a league rule on this, or is it a case that people just aren't speaking up and going, well, what's?
No, I think it's a league rule that you have to have an official scoreboard, an official scoreboard, which we don't have.
Right, and do they have a definition of their official school? And that type of stuff, I mean, it's like, what is an official school?
I don't know, I just
Right.
know that I was
But they
in
said that
baseball.
when they were working on this, you said that they had actually had a much more expensive project in plan for redoing it and like trim back
I think if you
to
said
the,
that, right.
to the,
They really wanted to do the old fashioned Fenway, with the, so the kids could, and they had envisioned having a ramp, so if there was, somebody that had ADA compliance could go up and put them, but the price was just outrageous, so they've gone back to, the electronic, if I remember correctly. it's
Stan,
correct.
don't do that.
So,
That's catchy,
My-
even behind masks.
My general piece is that they need to fund it out of CPA funds. If they think the CPA knows something else, that's fine, or delay, it. I mean, or delay something else. I don't care what. I said my just objection is that free cash going towards things that are still that CPA should know, as I feel, should be only going forward, since they have their own stream of revenue.
Or we can vote on these individually. So,
Samantha, do you want to vote on like 1 to 4 together? Or do you want to, and then discuss 5, or do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Good point, Joel.
Well, I think number 2 is something else. That was a little,
Okay, so we'll do that.
That is too controversial or?
no, I forgot that we added or other roof repair. That was a suggestion by somebody. I mean, the capital planning had a hard time with this without adding the roof repair or replacement, because they too felt like this rubber membrane, we're dealing with a rubber membrane here and trying to get this repaired with the timing of the what are those air things and walking on the, you couldn't repair the roof and then put those in, and we couldn't get those, and so, so that, when I forgot that we had added or replacement needed so that they could have other options other than the membrane. So I'm all right with number 2 now that I recall that.
I have no issue with it. I dealt with this with the 1870
Yeah.
town hall, and I was always for they did the roof repairs and they did the painting.
Mhm.
So when they did all the other things and stuff, then I was all no road sign, but when it came to actually do painting the building, the structure, I supported that, I support this too.
we have a motion then to act on Article 7, items 1 through 4.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The vote 1 through 4 carries unanimously. We have a motion for Article 7, item 5.
I'm sorry, who,
Well, Mary made it, technically Mary made the motion. I mean, I said it, but Mary said so moved. So Mary made the motion. Did anyone
Yeah, the
else
motion,
second it?
the motion was by me that we vote in favor of items 1 through 4 of Article 7.
and who seconded it? I'm sorry, I just totally. Who
We'll
seconded?
discuss that.
Okay.
Just making things orderly here, right?
Yeah. Go back to the tape.
I was gonna say that.
Don't say that.
Um, we can ignore number 5 and not have a recommendation. Or we can vote on it. All where they made. Or you mean, you can make a motion that we don't approve it.
You can, motion not approve, item 5 or 7. Specifically, because of $1,000 for free cash.
want to second that? Sounds like.
I'm still trying to get around.
Motion made, but not seconded.
Do we get to have further discussion when it's not seconded? I just don't know what to say. No, okay.
Scott, could we, in preparation for town meeting, could we point out that it is the free cash aspect that is
Yeah.
the source, so that the motion has to go to the entire item.
Yeah, I mean, that's the complicated part of this, but the specific issue is the 20,000 free cash.
So I might second it saying that I agree with Melvin with respect to sourcing from free cash as shown in item 5. But it's kind of weird because I don't want to make a no vote to that recreation project in general, but I guess.
I know that's the
That's the
complicated
hard-
piece
that's the
of
hard part.
how the, this is when things get mixed together like this. I mean, even the old days, right? I mean, when this was in a separate article,
It would have been
would
mixed together.
been mixed together.
Well, let's also not forget, our vote doesn't make the money, our vote is a recommendation, it's not a,
Yeah.
it doesn't make the pass or not pass, I mean, it might, our vote does carry weight, but it's just because, I mean, we can, if we voted to not support it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not gonna happen, or if we have no opinion, it doesn't mean that it's not gonna happen, we're not the ones deciding it, we're just deciding on whether we approve or not as a committee.
Yeah, so on that stated rationale, I'll second the Scott's motion.
Now can we have further discussion?
Now we can.
So my question is there any way around just moving where this, like, CPA and free cash? I understand where Scott's coming from, and yes, Article 12 is, no, is it 12?
11.
11.
Is the basketball.
11 is the basketball, but is that the one that's taking, yeah, and then 12 is the baseball, which isn't even in the capital, it's capital planning piece, it's its own thing. I mean, could we just somehow flip monies or no? I'm just asking, I just don't know, it's like,
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it's because it's written in the warrant under free cash, notice has been given that that's the proposal. But I would defer to Barry and legal counsel at town meeting. on
I'm
that.
just wondering, I mean, because I see where Scott's coming from, but it's
I-
kind of like, it's kind of like a wash in some respects, because
But it could be amended down to only include- It could be, this piece could be, I think this piece could be amended down to eliminate the free cash component entirely. Then have them wait on replacing a fence or doing whatever.
Sorry, you're proposing, Margaret, that item number 5.
Well,
We look to have it amended down.
it
so
could
it's
be,
just
I think
30,000?
it would be legitimate to amend it down to eliminate $20,000 from free cash.
This could be done at the meeting.
I think it can be, yes, I think you can amend down. So again, it's a question for Barry and town council, but I think this could be amended down to eliminate that piece.
So while we're asking that question, we need to look at Article 11, because that same 20,000 in free cash is popping up again.
Well, they the.
So you need to amend both of them, I think, to achieve Scott's objective. And then put the 20,000 back in at the regular town meeting, but make it CPA money.
Oh, so essentially vote down Article 12 for the $20,000 from
No,
CPA.
not the 12, 11.
Oh, 11.
If I voted down, but put a
But to
motion in
reduce
to
it.
amend it, to reduce it by the 20,000 free cash. To do it in 2 places, do it amended in 2 places if it's permissible.
So Article 11 only funds the CPA piece. So I don't know that I don't think you'd have to, only the comment down below.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Because you can't increase the CPI.
right.
They would still get their 100,000.
Okay. Thank you.
The other one-
That's helpful.
So they're gonna get 130, they're gonna get capital planning recommendation for 100, and then 30 from the mitigation. And then the 20,000 would not be there, and it is, I don't know how, somewhere along the line, we have to somehow get them back that 20 maybe at Springtown meeting, is that what you're recommending, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, or, correct, I mean, it could be at the Springtown meeting that they go for their extra 20,000 from CPA funds that they have available at that time.
Will there be CPA funds at the Springtown
Yes.
meeting available?
Yeah.
That CPA committee hasn't already.
It would be
somewhere
receipts
else?
from the current year. Because they've used everything from the prior years in these articles.
Yeah, that's what
They
I'm
have,
already
if,
saying,
if all of this approved, they'd have 4 cents left.
4 cents.
Yeah.
So that would be my, or, because that was one piece I could not identify, I was looking through everything to see, well, what did they have left? I think it was pretty clear they must not have anything left, or very little left at least.
Sounds like they're
At least
little.
under 20,000, that they're, you know, to me, they, in their first year of this, went $19,999.96 over budget, on this, and that they could just tell them, right, just, we're only 6 months away, it's not like we're a year. Let's get the, have CPA fund the rest of the 20,000 in May. I mean, also, I think the basketball court, stuff like that, we can tell myself that we're waiting, because there will be different pieces.
They'd have to do
That's
it
pretty
for
much
next
Construction,
year.
the
July
construction
1.
might not be that
It'll
urgent.
have to come July 1.
So it would have to be on the
Right.
annual.
They may not
not
even
special.
get what they
Okay.
need to construct it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It could still be in New York Harbor.
So you wouldn't be able to vote it at a special. It would only be able to be voted at the annual, because now you're using estimated receipts, because there's no funding from last year available.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is they would just have to wait until,
July.
July 1, so it'd have to be the new annual, because it would be coming out
Right,
of the new estimated.
It would not have the funds available until July 1st of 2022.
Yeah, until I can close the books and give them a free cash number, they don't have any other funds right now. After this, if they would have voted.
So it would have to come out of fiscal 22 receipts.
No,
No.
it would not be able to be voted until the Maytown meeting as the new fiscal year using
Oh, I see, yeah, voted for.
additional, yeah,
Yeah.
forward. So they're
Okay.
pretty much, they've spent everything.
Yep.
Except for like, they'll have like another $200, 200,000, but that can't be certified until after the close of the books. That makes sense.
It does.
But my question is, do you think that CPA committee has already earmarked their next 200,000 for something already, and that we're gonna?
That I don't know. I
Yeah.
can't answer
Well,
that.
Well,
I
that's my
understand
concern.
it has to go into the 3 buckets, Jan. And then
Well,
there's
no,
a-
I
10
understood that it
10%
doesn't
has to
have to
go
go
in.
into the 3 buckets. It can go all into one of the 3 buckets, right?
No,
No, there's a mandated into each of the.
10% has to go in every year.
into each of the
bucket.
buckets.
Oh, I see. So what's 10% of what they're gonna get?
I don't know what they're gonna get yet.
Well,
until it
Oh, I
happens.
see.
I mean, you can kind of see from the past. that
Yeah,
it
yeah, I
makes sense, 'cause you
understand
see,
now,
like,
sorry,
the-
yeah.
they're doing the, what is it, the open space, like Article 11, 77,000. And
But-
then the 11,000
yeah.
for undesignated.
Yeah, and my understanding though is that they have the money, they don't have to spend it all, like they can basically say, we wanna hold on to this.
That's correct.
And it's also, anybody can bring a proposal, they can fill it out and say, I wanna do, like maybe that trail with the wellness trail. So
Mhm.
like, I have a plan for this, be able to meet,
Mhm.
they make the proposal,
Mhm.
and then it's the CPA committee
That
is the one
recommend-
that's
They
processing
recommend.
everything and decides how it gets spent. So
Yeah.
they don't even know, they don't know for next year everything that they're gonna get, because not everybody has applied.
Right.
You have to.
Possibility
So
of, yes.
typically, they did approve guidelines
Mhm.
that should be posted.
Yeah.
On how the CPA funds committee, how
Yeah.
they're operating as a committee, so it's out there.
Oh, no, I understand about the divvying up, I'm just saying that
It's not-
who's
it's-
gonna,
it's not.
where it's gonna get spent, people can apply and say, okay, I want, we have this project, we can apply for it, but somebody may have not decided what that project is yet.
Mhm.
So there's no way the CPA would know about it, because it's a future.
So,
Right.
so you can put it, yeah, you can put it in front of them and have an idea. I was actually working on something here, which didn't get submitted because the decision really is on what's in the warrant, but.
Yeah.
But they can also fund over multi-years.
Yeah.
So if you put in a project that's sort of, we're not quite ready for prime time and it's supplemented, they can
Mhm.
start to say, yeah, we're gonna support it, but we're gonna support it over 2 years.
And they could actually move the funds into those buckets too.
Yes, and then
Yeah,
move
they
the
wanted
funding,
to.
so if it's a grant.
And not actually appropriate it to spend it
Yep.
yet, but just to put it
Mhm.
aside.
Or we have a motion on the floor.
Okay. Sorry,
Hold up, all right, I'm gonna leave it to you.
thank you for your explanation.
So the motion is to
Not approved
not approve. or-
because of the 20,000 sourcing from free cash.
No, I thought,
The
I thought-
question was if we could amend it down to remove the
Yeah.
20,000 from free cash.
Well, that would be a separate motion.
So is that the new motion?
We haven't acted on the old motion.
Okay.
Unless the maker of the motion wants to withdraw it to make a change.
Motion right now is,
The motion right now is to not approve
not approved.
item 5 of Article 7. Now, if we are able to amend it on the floor, to amend the dollar amount down, then I'm not sure that we would want a positive vote on this. We're just gonna turn around and make an amendment, change it on the floor. But,
I mean, who has to make the, change it, so would that be, planning?
I think it could be from anybody.
So Stan, you trying to get us to move into this on this?
I'm trying to get us to vote, and what I don't know is if our vote matters, in our count of the vote matters. What I don't know is if it, does it change what would ultimately happen based on what our vote is?
Well, yeah, you can't know that.
No, I don't think you have to worry about that. I mean, our vote, I mean, obviously, the most obvious thing, is 2 pieces. One is, right, I mean, there will be that question of it was not approved, if it's not approved. And likewise, if it's not approved, then it'll go to, because it's over 10,000 more, there'll be a private or an anonymous vote,
Okay.
right? That will be the most obvious thing. I have no problem speaking to.
Or I was just gonna say, or is it just a matter of speaking to it at the meeting? I mean, if you hadn't made a motion to not support it, and we had made a motion to support it and voted 4-1, say, then you could get up at town meeting and say that why the vote was what it was.
Correct.
Or, but we have a motion on the floor to not support it. So, like, I think we should vote on that motion. So all right, so we have the motion and we have a second, and we've discussed it. We need to discuss it any further. So hearing none, all those in favor of not supporting, so yay vote, not support this, and they vote, does, just not support that. Not supporting it. I say that
we
3
need to
times
get
real fast.
sleep.
So yay again.
Right.
Is against.
Right. So those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so how many ayes do we have?
Yeah,
So
Unanimous, okay.
it's 5-0 to not support this motion. Now, we didn't have language in it as to why we're not supporting it, but we can discuss it as to why we're not supporting it.
Okay, now I am putting in the minutes that I did put in that it was because of the 20,000.
Oh,
we
okay,
did discuss-
okay,
we
so
did
that is
discuss
part of the
And then we
motion. I
did
know we
discuss
discussed
part
it,
of
but
it,
is that actually part of
Yeah,
the motion?
well, this is, I didn't put, this is how I put it in.
Okay.
Supporting
That
this
way we're
article
Just
as
the
it's
20,000 part,
Correct.
yeah.
That way it doesn't look like we're saying,
Correct, that we're not supporting the whole thing, that it's the fund, it's the funding source. I mean, that's the whole thing, is that it's the funding source. That's exactly what the finance committee is supposed to be doing, is supposed to be challenging funding source.
How would you like your recommendation on that, on number 5 to be written in on the motion sheet? 5-0 to not support due to proposed use of free cash?
Well, yeah.
Okay,
Should we, will you be taking contact recreation and capital planning, they want to know a heads up?
No.
Well, I think
It'd be, they
They
don't want
should
to
be
be
informed.
blindsided.
right now.
Yes.
I mean,
It's a courtesy, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's not that we're not supporting the recreation court upgrade. I think everybody wants to see that
I don't know.
done. It's just where the source of the funding is coming from.
that's right. And yeah,
You know, because, you know,
What?
Article 8 is,
So, sorry, do we need to do step 2 here and say if it's amended? that we would remove that?
I think that has to come to the floor, right, Margaret? The amendment?
I don't know that you want to put that in here. I mean, you could put a note that the finance committee will move to amend, or you could just do it at town meeting. Then I suggest leaving it as is, and at town meeting, you could do that. Yeah, I'm gonna post them for 6:45.
We have that other question on the liquor licenses.
Yeah.
So if we don't finalize that, then we're gonna have to sit down.
Town council will be there at 6:30, so you'll be able to ask her. Okay, so just a note on the next,
That's the point I was trying to make, and I tried to make it there too, but I wasn't.
So yes, so we'll.
the Article 8. This is a request for $490,000 from CPA funds, and the deadline to submit capital requests was Monday, and a capital request did come in for another $490,000 with no designated funding source identified, or no identified funding source in that capital request. So it's an FY23 capital request, has not been vetted yet, but I just thought you should know.
I don't know what you're saying, I'm sorry.
but, yeah, I'm kind of lost.
Oh, okay, so they've requested $490,000 here in funding, and a capital request for FY23 has come in for another $490,000 toward this.
Outside of this.
Yes,
And where's that money gonna come from?
well, that's why I said they don't have an identified funding source. It has not even been vetted yet, so don't know. Don't know, just came in.
So if this $490,000 doesn't get spent on this parcel,
Mhm.
where does that? Well, how long do they have to spend this $490,000, or will it come back to the town to be reissued to another piece, right?
I,
Because it's gotta be voted on, right?
If this doesn't pass,
If this,
yeah, it'll go back to capital. I mean, to.
No,
CPA.
If it passes, but they don't spend it.
but they don't spend it, because it sounds to me like they're
would
needing
have
more
to go back.
money to get to the parcel they want. I'm just trying to figure it out in my own head.
Hmm.
Conversation, so I'm not official on this, but any conversation on it. The parcel is, the sticker price is like 1.25 million. And Sudbury Valley trustees has the reserve funds if they need to purchase. But Sudbury Valley trustees needs the town support in order for it. So this is step 1, and I think what Margaret spoke about for fiscal 23 is a placeholder. Okay, and then so if
it could be for this. in
yeah, if
case.
the owner
Oh,
wants to do the transaction right now, Sudbury Valley would fill the gap, right? But probably ultimately looking back to the town to reimburse Sudbury
If they
Valley.
don't get the.
What's,
funds.
what's
If
the,
the town is gonna own
Mm.
that.
See, that's what I was trying to
Mm.
understand,
Yeah, I
with the coffee talk, is that it's more important
right.
that conservation doesn't have to worry about getting the full cost of the parcel. If the town votes approval of this amount, it shows to Sudbury
Yes.
that we are behind the project. Sudbury is comfortable to move in and help the project move forward.
Exactly, I spoke to.
And that's what wasn't quite clear, what I thought you were trying to say, but
I
it
don't think
wasn't
it
quite
can- I
coming
don't think
across.
it can be stated.
So my question
I'm
is,
more flat-footed than these people, but I spoke to Sudbury Valley yesterday morning to the right person.
Yeah,
They have the reserve funds to close this deal if it's required on a shorter time.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a- So
Yeah.
that was
When
very
are they
clear.
applying for the land?
Yeah.
right?
And what Margaret said about the fiscal 23 request for CPA funds was new.
mhm.
So, and I know that they're going to pursue the land grant. They're also going to pursue an MVP grant
Mhm.
for
Sorry,
some.
what is MVP?
Oh, municipal vulnerability preparedness. An MVP grant.
The TLA would have. taken us. I had no idea what
But
we're
they
talking
also
about.
now have an agent, they have their agent, right? So they also have more support now for helping get some of this.
Oh, the conservation agent,
Conservation
she just started Monday.
So
Yeah.
they actually have, oh, terrific. They have several
Yeah.
things in place now to make it.
So
it
my-
sounds like make it easier for
Yeah.
them to get things moving forward.
I would hope so, yeah.
my only question on this is, does Sudbury Valley Trust have a clause that says if the funding isn't available, we have the right to do whatever we want with that piece of property? That's what makes me nervous about this whole thing.
I have no visibility into that in detail.
But did you-
But I
but-
know, I know with conservation that the rights could be held in different hands. You could still put the land in conservation. I don't know those details.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you wanted to ask, somebody would explain what they think is gonna happen, but
And with
You
the
know,
things that
until-
they sell, they agree with that restriction, I'm sure on what they can do and stuff anyway.
they do. Yeah,
Who's
they do.
they?
Sudbury Valley, like they can't just go in and
They
put in a
have a-
pot farm, I mean, they have. to-
No, they have to, but they could go in, they could go in and sell it to a developer and. the
But I think
developer-
it could
No, they cannot.
Actually,
No, they cannot,
No.
because, and the attractiveness of this particular property is because it's a tri-town area. Mount Pisgah abuts it, and these are the trails that take you from our side. to Mount Pisgah. I know there's trails on the northwest side.
Yeah.
They come out
But
on
there's
Hudson Street.
also the dam further down the road, so if they can keep that
Exactly.
open, you have a really
It's a
nice
corridor,
long
it's an
trail.
open corridor space.
But the other good, I'm sorry, but the thing I think they were trying to get across in the pocket talk is if Sudbury can do this, it puts the town in a better position to go after grants without having to get the land, because once, and I understand, but once the town owns the land, they own the land, they couldn't go after certain grants.
So
So,
having the
having-
intermediary of SBA having.
and having Sudbury's expertise in managing it, I mean, to me, I didn't see a negative in any of that, it all sounded like a.
As long as there's no, I mean, I don't know,
Yeah.
but as long as I wasn't able to go to, I had another meeting with the Coffee Talk, but
Mhm.
as long as there's no issue with Sudbury and Trust being able to do something else with the piece of property,
No, their charter doesn't permit.
Well, and also, that's all beyond the scope of this article.
Yeah.
Right. This isn't the end. of
no,
the
it's just,
discussion.
we were just having a conversation.
But I think this is important, because people will look to us to help.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So we need a motion.
I move we vote in favor of this.
Any further discussion?
Just one quick question. Overlap. What's the difference between the CPA undesignated community preservation fund balance and fund balance reserves?
So June, it's a 10-10 and a 30, is it?
We have, well, we have the three buckets
Right.
and 10% goes into each of those. Those are the
Right, so
reserves,
there's-
and those are the reserves. And then there is the fund balance, which the only way I can kind of compare it is to like a free cash is what the undesignated fund balance is, and that's what can be used here. And then they also had, if you remember at town meeting, they appropriated, I can't remember now, 24,000 maybe, for administrative. And they also appropriated another 315,000 and some change for a budgeted reserve. That money there, they're budgeting like we do at town meeting for money coming into the town. So the undesignated is like free cash from prior year versus the reserve, budgeted reserve is them budgeting to use money in the current year before the money has actually come in. Does that make sense? And if even, and that's the ones that when they can spend that at a special town meeting for a particular project. If that's not used, it goes back in and it'll be unused money, so it'll become part of free cash or undesignated.
In the balance reserve, there are also, that's included in the, I think, 4 cents remaining.
That's the undesignated balance is the 4 cents, if all of this goes through as planned.
But the balance reserve does have additional.
That's current year funding coming in, and if that's, they are using some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Further discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor? Yeah.
Oh,
The next is the basement and drainage for Bullard House. Yes.
kind of falls into Mary, if we own the building, we need to maintain it.
Well, yeah, and the town has owned it, I forget who I was talking to this, 25 years, it's time to just do it right. And these funds enable us to do things with the foundation that will long-term and that will be stable. And we've been playing with it and not.
I was gonna say, and will it happen? I
It
guess
will-
if we
it
have the
won't
money, we
happen
have the
because
money.
the current management of these things is like in action right now.
Yeah.
Am I speaking code?
Yes.
And
I
you
comprehend.
have a receiver that picks up the transmissions.
I sure do.
And it's being done in accordance with a structural survey they had done, so they're doing everything very methodically to move forward on this renovation.
Yeah, we have persistent methodical presence, and so I have full faith that this will happen. And
PMB, so to speak. Persistent methodical presence.
yeah, I think we all have that. So.
Sally Ford.
It's after 9.
Real.
It's a good thing we're not at war and somebody's doing code breaking.
It is a
because
good
it's
thing.
really disguised code. Anyway,
Well, just,
My meeting goes past an hour and a half, I can generate to that.
yeah,
Sorry,
sorry,
thousands from the Pacific Historic Resource.
exactly. It comes with the CPA. We now have an opportunity to get this thing done because of the CPA.
And again, when if you're saying comprehensively address everything at once, rather
Yes.
than
Piece
people, yeah. And then does that mean after they get this work done, people can actually go in the house?
Well, that's a whole other question. I don't
Or is
know
that the
insight
next
into
level?
that. Is that the next? I don't know.
Okay.
I
That's
don't
the
know.
next
So,
But these designated buckets come up every year. So funds are.
Right.
but historical hasn't done it, right?
I'm sorry?
Historical has it
Yes.
designated.
That's right.
Yes.
It's recreation, historical, and open space, basically. Those are,
No, there's housing.
sorry.
Affordable housing.
Open space and recreation together and
yeah.
housing is
Sorry.
the other.
My apologies.
Affordable.
Okay. That's why I was, never mind, I'm just gonna shut up so we can get out of here. That's why I had issue with this, because I thought this could have gone there, because it's one in the same bucket,
Yes.
but no one was understanding what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Okay, we're at 9.
I move that we vote in favor of this.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried unanimous, those opposed? Unanimous. Article 10.
I already talked about this one and another thing, and I'm gonna just move that we approve the $5,000 for Article 10 for archive, I believe it's archiving, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a building to put our archives in, we might as well have them archived,
I have
right?
something to put in it. I will second your motion.
Further discussion? None of those in favor?
Aye.
Carried unanimous. Article 11.
I don't know how to do that, so I'm just gonna wait until somebody else does.
But, well, actually, Margaret's clarified. No, this is.
Oh, this is only CPA funding. This article is only the CPA piece.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
In fact, I might talk to Anna about rewording their capital planning committee's recommendation under this, just to keep it from being confusing.
Right, because that confused me.
Mm-hmm.
That's saying something.
Yeah. No. All right.
I move that we vote in favor of this.
Second.
Further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Article 12. So what are we doing on this one now?
I think the fact that it's still coming from CPA funds.
Oh, right.
And recreation is one of the designated buckets.
Mhm.
So I move that we accept number 12 as. Whatever you want to say.
I'll second that.
So any further discussion on this one? Hearing none, for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried unanimously. 13, the public safety special purpose stabilization, another stabilization fund.
June doesn't mind. She likes a place to put money. This is, pre-funding this is going to allow us to not be in a position that we're waiting for the receipts to come in right before annual town meeting in order to spend them at annual town meeting. What we're going to try to do here is use a pre-existing balance in the account and not have to depend on, what is it? They come in like April, the Highland Commons mitigation
Sometimes the
funds.
data.
So this is, this is a way to actually put money in savings and use those savings, expend those savings, instead of planning to spend something that's anticipated.
And how did you come up with
That's the balance in the account.
$336,449.72?
That's the balance in the account right now.
Ah, okay.
And we use some of this every year on fire department, personnel and, yeah.
But we have this because we're always basically working in arrears anyway. I mean,
Yeah,
so-
this
We're-
is gonna
we're
allow us
actually-
to not have to do that.
We're actually usually, well, this year's the first year because we didn't spend it all. Normally we spend it all and there is nothing. We're waiting for that check to come in.
We are normally waiting, okay.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to do it, start it up with this, and that way this is what we have available to spend at next town meeting, and we'll wait for the check to be.
And who's gonna
spent.
speak to this? Because I find this gonna be confusing for everybody.
Well, I can speak to it.
Okay.
Yeah. And this, the board understands it too, so we can speak to it.
A motion on 13 then?
I move that we vote in favor of Article 13.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Committee.
No, I've booked your meeting for 6:45 Monday night. I also scheduled your meetings for November 17th and December 15th. So you're,
So no answer from Molly or anybody on that question. Sorry.
No, nothing.
I won't be here the 17th, just so everybody knows. I have parent-teacher conference.
well, it's gonna be, November 17th will be crunch time. We're gonna have to have, budget guidelines finalized out, everyone, we're gonna have this thing, we're gonna have it all well prepared by the 17th and just ready to go.
Yeah, so 2 weeks time.
Mhm.
Can I just ask?
I can't be here for the 17th either.
Uh-oh.
Are you serious?
Mhm.
I can do this meeting Wednesday.
Like next Wednesday, maybe?
If you have to, I jump. That's the 10th.
Or the Tuesday of that week, or I can change it, I just can't, I have another meeting, I can't miss.
I can do Tuesdays too, though.
I can't because the board's meeting that, well, I can't, but if you all can. The board's actually meeting in here that night.
Well, could you, the following Tuesday? Is that okay?
Oh, maybe.
16.
The 16th.
Can you all do the 16th?
Yeah, did it
Yeah,
really
I can
16th?
do this.
I can handle the 16th.
I'll change that. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Can I just ask if there's any budget forms that need to be changed so I can get those already to start there?
And what was the December date? I'm sorry.
December 15th.
Stretching it, but we could,
Easier for you
well,
rather than this end.
it would, it's just that that's.
I knew that, that's why I asked. The 15th?
Yeah.
Okay, now we need to approve these minutes, unless you want to do that without me on Monday.
Monday?
So,
That's what I had at the town meeting, but we're not going to.
yeah, so. this is
These
what I wrote.
tonight's meetings?
Tonight's meeting.
So let's adjourn it and then we're done. With the minutes.
You have to
Right.
approve them in the meeting, don't you?
We have to,
We were gonna vote on the minutes tonight so they could be posted.
Yeah.
I understand, but they're not completed without being adjourned, right?
Oh, no, you could vote them.
That's what I'm
Yeah, you could
asking.
vote them, just,
No, I'm asking, can we approve them without adjourning, is
Mhm.
my question.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, it's a long day. Okay, so if anybody wants to.
Do you want me to read it out loud?
Sure.
that's room 226 over there. They're gonna have to meet in 226.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Meeting called to order 7:40, new business review and approval of 6 October 2021 meeting minutes. Janet moved to accept as corrected, Mary second, approved by vote 5-0. Second item on the new business review and vote on November 8th, 2021 special town meeting warrant articles 1 through 13. See attached motion sheet for details on articles. Articles 1, Mary moved to recommend, Scott seconded, no further discussion, carried 5-0. Article 2, Janet moved to recommend, Mary seconded, no further discussion,
What
carried
is
five
that? Board of
zero.
Health is in
3, Janet moved
16, yes,
to
that could be
recommend,
fine.
Mary seconded, no further discussion, carried five
Oh, no,
zero.
that's.
4, overall recommendation, finance committee has no intention of revenue implications. 5, no expected financial impacts, so no recommendation. 6, Janet moved to recommend, Mary seconded, no further discussion, carried 5-0. 7, Scott raised a question of why using free cash for expenses that can be paid with CPA funds. Will give recommendations for each sub number. Motion to recommend 1 through 4. Mary made motion, Scott seconded, no further discussion, carried 5-0. Motion to act on 5. Scott made motion to not approve because of the 20. We got a period amount of $20.
Okay, yeah.
$5,000 sourcing from free cash. Mary seconded, further discussion. Question if this could be amended down to remove the 20,000 from free cash. Yay vote to not support number 5 is 5-0. 8, Mary moves to recommend, Scott seconded, carried 5-0. 8 and 9, Mary moves to recommend, Scott, Janet seconded, carried 5-0. 10, Janet moves to recommend, Mary seconded, carries 5-0. 11, Mary moves to recommend, Janet seconded, carries 5-0. 12, Janet moves to recommend, Mary seconded, carried 5-0. 13, Mary moves to recommend, Janet seconded, carried 5-0. Item C, meeting scheduled for November 8 at 6:30 before town meeting. We posted for 6:30 then? 6:45.
6:45
6:45.
at the school, yeah.
Guess what? I can type 6:45.
Just a point of order though,
I
when
was
we
gonna say, why doesn't she have the cobble while she's there, but I wasn't gonna say anything.
Don't you start. Don't you start. That's enough. Right there. Just stop.
Getting late.
Hey,
Okay, meetings, item C, meeting scheduled for November 8, 2021 at 6:45. For town meeting. Should we put PM in there? Yeah, because I'm not being there at 6:45. Item D, other meeting dates, Tuesday, November 16, 2021 at 7:30, and Wednesday, December 15, 2021 at 7:30. Nice job, respectfully submitted.
So when we say as amended and for the beginning of the prior meeting minutes, do we have to say what we amended, or is it just because we said it during the meeting? Like, does that need to be in the notes?
Yeah, you just change, yeah,
What, we just changed what?
yeah, just change it.
Whatever it was you amended. you
Yeah.
just changed the.
Just change the prior minutes. If you had an amendment, just change the
Before
prior
they
minutes.
post it.
Oh, yeah, because I have,
So that's how we handle that, is if we're amending prior minutes, we just change those, so we've agreed to do it, so we just, that authorizes her to just make the change before it gets posted.
Yeah, and that was who was being nominated for the position.
Oh, sure, I understand
Well,
that.
it really be amended, it was just a draft, they weren't actually approved.
It was a draft.
Oh,
So that was the first time it will.
Actually, you're right.
there you go.
So it
Makes
wasn't,
it easy.
So you're voting on them now.
Right,
That's
so I
what they
guess,
are.
I guess what I'm saying is that when we just say, when we're saying as amended, there's nothing in the documentation that says what we changed
Yeah,
that to.
you're correct. Actually,
That's what my point was. And so if somebody's looking at this, they're gonna say, well, they changed them. I wonder what they changed them to. I don't know. It doesn't say.
so
It
so
says they
just,
changed them,
just say,
but I don't know if we have to. I just, that's my question.
Well, if they were in draft form,
you were in draft form.
you could be really clear, you could say draft minutes were corrected and approved as
and approved.
approved.
Just remove it.
Or, or-
Oh, to-
or just simply say the minutes were approved. I think
Yeah.
that's fine. Thank you, Scott. That's a good point.
Okay.
Oh, because, all right, so since it
I'm
was a
taking-
draft, to
It's a
start with,
draft.
since it was a just. it's just a
Janet
draft.
moved to accept Mary second. Ah.
Got it. Yeah, so we
Now I
just say
need it.
accepted the draft minutes or just accepted the minutes.
Mhm.
We don't have to say it's approved as amended. That's over.
Okay. You still want to-
All right.
Not at
So
all.
now we have to take a vote on approving.
That is correct. We don't need a motion, right? We just vote. Or no, we do need a motion.
I move that we approve the
Tonight's
tonight's minutes, the minutes of November 3, 2021.
Oh, my God. Sorry.
All those in favor, or any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Time is the town meeting on the eighth.
This is,
This was her favorite. little thing, so she wanted to
Yeah.
come up with
This-
it.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah, no.
So are we adjourning now?
I make a motion to adjourn 9:24.